ATP Tour. Performance runs through our DNA. Dunlop, the #1 ball on tour.
I've always loved the game of tennis.
Everyone's a big family here.
It's about camaraderie because it's family.
I consider my tennis family part of my overall family.
That's what I like about it most, the friendships you develop.
I look so forward to coming to these events that I've made through the years.
If you love the game, give back to the game.
You become the calm in the storm.
You can decide how much you want to work and how much you don't want to work.
You never stop learning.
Every time I work an event, I always learn something.
It takes time, it takes experience.
Find your niche. We need you, and I think you will find it very rewarding.
Get out there, start trying to do it, and see if you like it.
Welcome back, college tennis. A new year and a new look to the fall season. A clean slate for student athletes to write their names into the history book. Rising stars and known veterans all swing towards the goal of perfection. Their chance at greatness begins now. Where legends are made, where champions are crowned, it's the ITA All-American Championships. Tulsa and Cary await. College tennis fans, we'll see you soon.
Welcome in, everyone. Day 2 of the 2024 ITA All-American Championships. Chris Halioris with you today for our featured matches, starting off this morning with the women. Featured match here on court 10. It's the senior Ellie Coleman from Duke against the freshman Valerie Glozman from Stanford. A couple different paths for these two. Obviously, Coleman, the veteran, coming in for Duke, had an abbreviated season last year, suffering an injury early February, and that ended the season for her. Glozman, on the other hand, highly decorated junior, coming in having played in New York at the U.S. Open, the girls, as well as the qualifying draw for the U.S. Open itself the last several years. Just getting herself moved in to campus this month. Both of these ladies were direct main draw entries, so neither had to go through the qualifying draw. These matches, the second round, it's a draw of 64. So we're down into the round of 32 now, One of the things we'll talk about is the fact that this tournament is one of the 4 paths for entry into the NCAA individual singles tournament this year. No entries based on ranking. If you were with us yesterday, I apologize for the repeat, but the info for those watching for the first time today. Your path into the NCAA individuals. Right here, 4 ways in. This is the first, the All-Americans. You get 10 singles qualifiers from All-Americans. Those will be the 8 quarterfinalists. The 8 quarterfinalists means they have to win 3 rounds in the main draw to get there. And then your 2 consolation or backdraw finalists will also make it. If they don't make it here, there are 13 regions. The 2 finalists from each of the regionals will also make it. There's your 26 there. Conference Masters gets 4, the 4 semifinalists there. Very tough tournament to get into, though. That is the one where they take 1 singles player and 1 doubles team from each conference. And then last but not least, if you didn't make it in through any of that, you can play in your section. There are 4 sections divided north-south, almost like time zones, with there being 4 other than 3 here. And those sections will play, and you'll get 24 qualifiers. That's 6 per section. Those 6 per section are your 4 semifinalists, and then a playoff between the 4 players that lost in the quarters for the final 2 spots. So that probably the most likely place for a lot of folks to get in. But those are your ways to fill out the draw of 64 for the NCAA individual tournament. Beginning here, again, 10 singles qualifiers at All-Americans. No need to play the rest if you make it here. Warm-ups have finished. See who's going to be serving first here. Last words from the coaching staff. It looks like Ellie Coleman going to be the first to serve. Apologize, a little graphic moving on you there. Get the things situated so we have good court view. You'll notice, obviously, instantly, Glozman's got 2-hander from both sides. Very solid from the ground. Played her qualifying draw this year at the U.S. Open, won her first round match, and then a tough one with longtime WTA veteran Lepchenko, excuse me. Lost that one. That was a great ball. Deep into Coleman's forehand corner. Mentioned Coleman last year for Duke, injured early in the dual match season. See a couple things there. One, Coleman definitely probably going to need to be the aggressor. Glozman a solid wall in the back, but Glozman also went to the one-hander when in need of reach on the forehand side there. And that forehand sprayed a little bit. It's going to bring up 3 break points here in the opening game for Glozman. Coleman was a top 50 junior of her own prior to coming to Duke back in 2021. Top 50 ITF-wise, that is. Top 50 in the world. Very good forehand down the line there, but boy, that doesn't seem like there's a lot of room for error. Glozman moving well and getting things back is gonna, feels like she's gonna force Coleman to go for those kinds of shots. Break point number 2. Fought off. Interesting two-handed slice. For Glozman there. So it's going to be a deciding point in the opening game here. For those not familiar with college tennis, there is no deuce. You get to deuce, and it's a deciding point. Receiver chooses the side. Glozman here has elected to take this serve in the deuce court. Great point from Coleman there to fight off 3 break chances and get the opening hold. See, just a little bit of frustration for Glozman, thinking she had good chances there. But you can see Coleman liking to send that ball into what I'll call the backhand corner. Glozman, 2 hands from both sides, so really hard to say backhand or forehand, but she does, as we've seen already in the first game, periodically go to sort of the reach slice or reach punch one-hander from the right, which I'll call her forehand side. See Coach Leitner there talking to Coleman, leading into her first receiving game. We'll get a look at Glozman's serve here. Ball looks like it just caught the outside of the line. Coleman gave it a really good look. One of the interesting things that may have played a part there this year, the overrule count has been reduced by 1. So players now only get one overrule. Ball's deep. See Coleman still coming to the net. Looks like a game plan of hers, but you get one overrule before being penalized. Last year, it was 2 and a penalty on the third. That has already caused, in talking to a bunch of the coaches, a difference in behavior on court, as some players still used to the that's beautiful play. Coleman again coming to the net. Some players still used to the system from last year, getting an early, making an early, possibly questionable call and getting overruled. That happens in the first 2 or 3 games. And now you're afraid to call a ball out the rest of the match because the next one's a point penalty. So it's caused a little more honesty, it feels like, amongst the coaches, among the players early. A lot more benefit of the doubt happening early in the matches. Coleman goes for that forehand. Not sure that's really what Glozman intended to do there. Almost kind of pulled Coleman into where she wants to be, and that is getting to the net, but it worked out in that case for 40-30. But you can see Coleman, even in the baseline rallies, she's trying to hug that baseline as close as she can, looking for that opportunity to come in. The deep balls from Glozman that push her back get her out of that possibility. And that's a great ball down the line here from Glozman. That right there. Not quite a winner, but the forced error to close out her first service game. Apologize for the play site graphic. There's a nice pass from Glozman on an approach from Coleman where the approach just wasn't good enough. Too much time, too easy for Glozman. But I don't think that's going to slow. Don't think that's going to slow Ellie down. That's the game plan. Good approach, get to the net, force the action. And another pass. Beautiful. You see Coleman now maybe getting a little too eager. Kind of serve and volley there. Beautiful pass from Glozman. Love 30. Coleman already had to fight off 3 break points in her opening service game. Now love 30 in her second. And that's a nice forehand there. Serve +1 from Ellie Coleman. Even took a little off the first. Didn't go as big as she did maybe a little in that first service game. Possibly trying to make sure she's getting the first in right now. Solid play from Coleman. She hit that forehand deep into that backhand corner of Glozman, forced her to go to the one-hand slice. Approach and an easy put-away volley. I say easy, she made it look easy. Probably not as easy as it looked. Not a lot of pace on it. Easy to mishit that. She directed it back with pace of her own. Coleman thought that was out. I think we all thought it was out. Even Coach Leitner's still looking at the line, thinking that ball was out. Glozman played it. On her second volley, eventually wins the point, and so now, for the second game in a row, she's got break points on the Coleman serve. Oh, nice play there. Coleman to the ball, into that forehand corner. The running one-hander from Glozman, but good instincts and coverage from Coleman to put that away. And for the second service game in a row for Coleman, she'll have a deciding point. Glozman will take it in the deuce court for the second time. Two deciding points. 2 holds for Ellie Coleman. That nice backhand down the line right here. This to hold. Beautiful down the line. So it's 2 holds on deciding points, but 5 break points in all faced already for Ellie Coleman. Withstood them all. A lot of action underway here in Cary this morning. Do have a look at scores from around the grounds here. We'll pop this up in the changeovers periodically. If you're looking to watch any of these other matches, catch host Alex Gruskin on our other YouTube channel with the Cross Court Cast, where he'll have the triple box up with 3 matches and moving around between the various matches, picking and choosing those at critical points, if you will. We've got a men's featured match later, but we've also got scores if you're wanting to check in on what's going on over in Tulsa. But we'll be featuring that match after this. Estimated 12:30 start. estimated 12:30 start for our men's featured match of the day. San Diego's Oliver Tarvett, Georgia's Miguel Perez Pena. Tarvett, a top 5 ranked, top 5 seed in the men's draw. Interesting play from Glozman, who looks to be more comfortable from the baseline. She comes with the net approach. Great tactical point ended on just a missed one-hand slice for Glozman there for 30 all. Get the feeling this match is going to be as tight as all of these games have been so far. 2 deciding points and a 40-30 in the other. And there's a solid approach from Glozman, showing off a little bit of the volleying skills in addition to that two-handed ground game. So now for the third time in 4 games, we're going to have a deciding point. Coleman's taken the first 2, but both of those on her serve. See if Glozman can do the same and hold. Glozman's been electing to take her returns on the deciding points in the deuce court. Coleman going the opposite tactic. She's going to take this one in the ad court. And it's a 4-hand winner on a deciding point for Valerie Glozman. Boom. Serve +1, she goes for it. Good nerves facing her first break point for the freshman. We're 2-all now. Just wide from Coleman. Glozman unable to handle that pace there. One of the things we'll talk about a little more at some point, hopefully, a new system for the ITA this year. They're piloting an electronic line calling system. It's not present here in Cary. It is on courts 1 through 4 in Tulsa. So if you're tuning into the cross-court cast with Alex Gruskin or our featured match later, We don't know what that court assignment is yet, but if we get one of those 4 courts, we may get a look at that electronic line calling system. Talk a little bit about how that works here in between points. Ah, that's a beautiful backhand down the line winner for Glozman. That electronic line calling system, when in use, does have the ability to make all calls without a replay, but they are not using it to make every call like you might see on the ATP Tour. The players still call their own. But if a player calls a ball out that the system deems was in, it will issue the overrule correction. So that's the way that is working, courts 1 through 4 in Tulsa. Good body serve there. From Ellie Coleman, probably something she needs to try to utilize a little more when you get somebody that's hitting 2 hands off of both sides. Much tougher to hit a 2-handed return when the ball's in your chest. You saw Glozman really have to go to 1 hand almost. One of the reasons the body backhand works so well for those with 2-handed backhands. First double fault for Coleman to bring us 30 all. That's exactly the kind of ball Coleman's looking for. A little bit of a short ball she can really pounce on with the forehand, get to the net. So a game point for her here to try to close one out without facing a deciding point for the first time. Super shot from Glozman. Deep to that forehand corner. And it's going to be 3 deciding points in a row for Ellie Coleman on her serve. And it looks like Glozman's not changing tactics. She's dropped the first 2, taking them in the deuce court. But she's going to continue to take those. Clearly more comfortable with her deuce court return. Oh, beautiful play there from Glozman. 3rd time's the charm. You see that forehand looked like a good setup, but that volley just too short. Glozman gets there easily for the running forehand down the line. Passes for the winner. She earns the first break in the match. Takes a 3-2 lead. Again, we'll check in on scores around the grounds. Again, some of these matches we're going to have on court today are going to be main draw matches, and some of them are going to be consolation draw. Everybody's still playing. As you remember, the 2 consolation finalists will qualify for the NCAA individual singles tournament, so still a lot on the line, even for the 32 losers from yesterday. They are playing the consolation feed-in with an opportunity to make it all the way to the finals and qualify for NCAAs. I think that will help cut down on some of the withdrawals we've seen in the past when folks lose in the main draw. Again, the fact now that nobody gets into individuals based on ranking. You could be the #1 player in the country. Case in point, Ozan Barish for the men. Came in ranked #1, lost in the first round yesterday. He's not getting into NCAAs unless he wins his way in. So he's either got to make it all the way to the consolation finals in Tulsa, that's a beautiful backstep overhead from Ellie Coleman there. Wanted to come in, didn't charge too fast, wisely. Caught the overhead on him. Back pedal for a winner. But as I mentioned, Barish in the consolation, so he's got to win his way in here. If not, he'll have to do it through regionals, masters, or sectionals. That #1 ranking will do him no good for getting into individuals. Coleman, a quick love 30 start to try to get that break back. Much more routine, I will say, in the women's draw yesterday than it was on the men's side. I believe 9 of the top 16 seeds on the men's draw lost. I know 4 of the top 8, and I think 5 of the 9 through 16 seeds all lost yesterday. That ball wide. So an early double fault here for Love 40. And Ellie Coleman's got 4 chances to get that break right back. Good play from Glozman to save the first. There it is. It's a break back for Ellie Coleman. So after 4 holds to start, a pair of breaks. And we're back on serve at 3-all. Ah, beautiful. Glozman looked like she had the pass. Wonderful stretch right here. Just able to reach. That was Ellie Coleman. women's seeds, by the way. It looks like 10-6 yesterday. So a little better than the 7-9 on the men's side. But even at that, 10-6 for the seeds, not overwhelming. Just goes to show you, early season. It's probably multiple factors. It's very early. All the women just back playing. Many of them played a full summer circuit, but just back in with the team. And also the fact that the early season rankings don't have a lot of play behind them. It's more of a consensus, so margin's very thin there. Good, solid overhead. The overhead for Coleman's looked on point so far this match. Good setup, great timing. She hasn't come close to missing one of those. She knew that one as soon as she hit it. A little too much on it. I think the top 8 in the women all made it through. That's where you see the real carnage on the men's side, when 4 of the top 8 lost day 1. Beautiful. The ace. The first routine hold for Ellie Coleman. The first 2 games went to deuce. First 3 actually did. First 2 went to deuce. She held her third service game, a deciding point. She was broken. Finally there at 40-15. An ace to close out her first easy service game. This one stays on serve, 4-3 for Coleman. Should be seeing the ends of a few first sets now. As you look. Anne-Marie Lutkemeyer, a 6-3 first set. Elsa Tomas for Tennessee. 6-1 first set. Grace Piper over Lily Jones, 6-2. Alsola, 6-1 over Luciana Perry. And Valaga, a bagel on Elena Yu, still running 7 games straight there. Everybody else still the tail end of their first set. Back to action here with Glozman to serve 3-4. That second serve going to be something that I'm sure the Stanford staff will be working on with Glozman. That very soft, frankly. Coleman put a little on it, but didn't jump on it as much as you might think. That one long from Glozman, so now a love 30 hole, but that second serve, I think Ellie Coleman's got a real shot to be able to jump on that and try to go for a few winners, if not just really dictating the play right from the start. On occasion. On the average, she made the smart play. She hit good angle, good pace, forced the error. Little slip. She did another good return there, but Glozman able to cover well, defended well, and then got a slip out of Coleman in the back court. Put her ball back into the open court for an easy winner. Fight back from Glozman now as Coleman nets that from love 30 to 30 all. New coaching staff this year for Stanford, the departure, retirement, if you will. That doesn't come over. Longtime legend Lily Faroud retiring after the conclusion of last season. Frankie Brennan taking over the reins of the head coaching duties for the Cardinal. Brings in former player Janice Shin as the assistant. So a new staff for that team. Backhand long. See Brennan, a few words from the side. So it's a couple break points here for Coleman. Oh, her eyes lit up when she got that short one back. It was a great return. She went after the first serve return. Forehand down the line. Put Glozman on the back of her feet. See, I must have had that wrong. I thought it was 30-40. It was 40-30, so it's a hold. For Glozman now 4 all. Oh, must have just caught the line. You get the clap from Glozman. So a great pass. From Ellie Coleman. I believe that's the second double fault for Coleman to make that 15 all. Serve deep. You see Coach Leitner, permanent fixture at this match for Coleman. Not sure if Duke has another player going right now, but Coach Brennan appears to be making the rounds back and forth. Ah, it's a beautiful volley and put away there. From Glozman. Yeah, Coleman definitely the one coming in more, but you see it was a good approach. She decided to come in, puts that backhand volley away into the corner well. So 15-30 here. Coleman. She tried to jump on that forehand. Got a little too far on top, directed it down into the net, and so now 15-40 and a host of break chances for Glozman and an opportunity to serve for the set if she can take advantage. Stanford, in addition to having Glozman going right now, Connie Ma and Alexis Blokina, I believe, also on court. Oh. Very generous roll for Coleman there, over and just inside the sideline. So she fights the first one off. Gonna need to do what she did in the opening game of the match, and that is fight off 3 break chances for a hold. Number 1 successful. Here's break point number 2. Not going to be able to do it. That one's deep. And Valerie Glozman's going to serve for the opening set here. 5-4. As Coach Brennan makes his way over. Take another look around the grounds now, as many of the first sets in the books. Grace Piper, 2 points away from a match there against Lily Jones. That the match closest to the finish line. Couple of them still in first sets, as this one is. 5-4. Teammate Connie Ma also in a grind 4-all, court 12. Ava Raster, the Ole Miss transfer from last year, also in a first set, serving to try to force a tiebreak there. Everybody else on to set 2 now. Raster moving from Ole Miss over to Auburn this year. Played in the top spot for the Rebels last year. Oh, another one that just rolls the top of the net for Coleman, and you see the smile. She gives a little wry smile to someone over on the side who I was going to assume it was Coach Leitner. It wasn't, as we see him back into the picture. Maybe some fans in the stands, but that one, not sure what happened. A good running forehand from Coleman that looked like she barely got it. And Glozman made that look very difficult, as if she could hardly get a racket on it. Didn't put it anywhere near the court. So now a love 30 opening for Coleman to try to break back and keep this first set alive. Coleman, good play from Glozman. Coleman got caught in no man's land. She looked like she wanted to come in, was most of the way to the service line. Realized it was a bad spot. Glozman hit it deep back to her, made her backpedal, and from there it was all defense for Coleman. Glozman able to find the open court. And there's that solid overhead we've seen from Ellie Coleman all match. Yet again, backpedaling. Not an easy overhead by any stretch, but she makes it look easy, puts it away in the open corner. And now she's got 3 break points to level this one at 5-all. Super put away from Glozman. Didn't matter whether Coleman guessed right or not, because she did. But too much pace and good direction from Glozman on the short ball at the net. Still 2 break points here for Coleman. Oh, she wants that back. Completely missed that forehand. Didn't even make it halfway, or backhand return, excuse me. Didn't even make it halfway up the net. So now it's going to be a deciding point, but it's also a set point for Valerie Glozman. And you see Coleman on the deciding point again, choosing the ad court as she did last time. Beautiful from Valerie Glozman, just out of the outstretched hands of Ellie Coleman here. Coleman didn't do enough with that ball and could get nothing but a frame on that passing shot, as you see her sort of slap a 5 with Coach Leitner of I should have had that set. Or at least that ball or that game. Nevertheless, it's a first set. For Glozman of Stanford, the freshman. Looking around the grounds, and we see her teammate Connie Ma now 5-4 serving for a set of her own. And Raster and Jackson. Emma Jackson from Duke, Ellie Coleman's teammate. So the teammates of these two, the only 2 ladies first left in first sets. Check back in. Looks like we're going to get a little bit of a break here. I'll throw those back up if you're looking for anyone in particular. Elena Yu. Another teammate transferring from Stanford to Duke this year. Finally on the board on serve in the second after dropping a bagel in the first set. Piper Charney, Kimmy Hance, one of the matches I thought was a candidate for our feature match of the day here. And Charney with a set and a break lead. For the Michigan Wolverine, early second set though. Head back out. You also see at the bottom, every 5 minutes or so, we rotate some scores from both Cary and Tulsa across. Good start early, first game, second set for Ellie Coleman. Oh. It's going to be a beautiful point had Glozman got that one over just a little too low. But it was a beautiful return wide that Coleman barely got to. And then she had a wide open court with Coleman on the run. 40 love now for Ellie. Quick, easy hold in the opening game for Ellie Coleman. Quick change here. After the first game, Coleman gets an easy hold. Glozman now to open her first service game of the second set. sure Coleman's figured out exactly how to take advantage of the softer second from Glozman yet. She's still sitting back on it. Hitting some decent pace and direction, but really not moving forward on it. She tried to come in a little. Got well inside the baseline to jump on that forehand on that second serve, but just missed it. But that's something I think she's going to have to do. Glozman's been able to get away with that so far, but that second serve, easy to attack. And a missed return there. The first even. Definitely the spot with the room for most improvement in the Glozman game there. Very solid on the ground. She's shown some decent net skills, but the serve, both first and second, definitely lacking a little pace. Could be taken advantage of. But when you hit ground strokes like that, you can cover that up. Easy hold at love for Valerie Glozman. So as we did in the first set, we trade holds to start. Took 4 games in the first before we saw our first break. Both ladies with easy holds on their opening game in the second. See what Coleman's got for her second. Coleman doing what she wants to there, but Glozman just not giving her anything easy or free. Great defense from her. Outstretched one-hander from the forehand side all the way to the backhand corner, forcing Coleman to come up with a low volley that she couldn't. Thought Coleman put her hand up as if she was calling the ball out. I'm not sure what she was doing, but that was in on her end. Her ball was out, so she's down love 30 here. Ooh. Looked good, very tough though on the far side to see from this angle. Called wide by Coleman, confirmed by the chair. No arguments from Glozman. Again, Glozman giving nothing easy. The defense is outstanding. Coleman getting her on the run, playing the balls she wants to play. But as was the case when she was broken before, Everything looked good until that last volley, and she just hits a short one that sits up and gives Glozman time to hit the running pass. Now it's break points for Glozman. Backhand wide there. Glozman asking, why'd you do that? She's doing so well in the rallies, and she's doing so well defensively. Her game right now, just keep making Coleman hit balls. That ball hit the tape. Looked like it was going to jump wide after hitting the net. But didn't, just stayed in. Might have caught the line there, I'm not sure. But now it's going to be a deciding point. Again, and Glozman's taken every one of them in the deuce court. Oh, you could tell immediately after she hit that, the same way she sprayed the ball 2 points ago a little wide. That one went well wide. And it's a hold for Ellie Coleman. Keep this one on serve in the second. Looks like all first sets in the books now. Connie Ma did manage to take her first set there. 3 matches, though, in the books already. And Christine Lutkemeyer, 6-3, 6-1 win. Over Alexia Jacobs. Grace Piper, a 2-1 win over Lily Jones. And Leonie Moeller got a 6-love and retirement win. Over Glozman's teammate Alexis Blokina. Blokina forced to retire after the first set in that match. Those are the only 3 matches completed so far this morning here in Cary. Keep you posted as any more do. And there's what I was talking about on that second serve. Coleman really coming forward on that. That's what she's going to have to do. She needs to make Glozman do something more than she is with that second serve. Or hit first serves like that. Well placed first from Glozman. But the more attacking she can do on the second serve, not only will it force her to do more on the second, it'll force her to take a little off the first because she's going to want to make more first serves to avoid that second. So an all-around help if she can really attack that second serve. She'll get another look here. Let's see if she opts to come in again on it. She does, but it's a beautiful forehand cover from Glozman. She anticipated that ball. And that may be what's giving Ellie Coleman pause to really try to attack those, is the fact that the defense has been so good from Glozman. That ball good from Glozman. Ellie Coleman just scratching her head, wondering what she's got to do to win points here. She plays them well, gets to the net, hits the ball she wants. Glozman still comes up with something. And the frustration of the simple missed return for Coleman. Gonna have to let that go. So just as we had an animated, elongated screen from someone off the side of the court there. Even got Ellie Coleman to look over at that. But just as we did in the first set, 4 holds to start. In the first set, we traded breaks at that point. Let's see what Ellie Coleman has to say this time around. Good start for her. Coleman now, you can just see in the body language, seems to be getting just a little frustrated with a couple of the easy misses. Missed the return, then missed that forehand for no good reason. Good pass down the line there. But you just get the sense that maybe both the style and the execution of the game on the other side of the net is starting to wear Coleman down a little. She's going to have to find something of her own here. Another miss from Coleman. That one not quite the easy one that she missed earlier in the game. That one had a little pace and not quite as straightforward. Still a ball she should be able to put in court. See if she tries to find her way in and dictate a point here at 30 all. Again, another forehand long, and Glozman seems to have found the spot. Coleman's forehand getting a little bit shaky here. Several unforced errors. Now break point for Glozman, just as it was in the first set at 2 all. Another missed forehand. That's 4 forehand errors for Coleman in the 2 all game. So she is broken. Glozman takes a 3-2 break advantage here in the second set, as that forehand coming apart for Ellie Coleman right now. See there, the College Tennis Alumni Network. Something put together, I believe, from the ITA. You can check that out at College Tennis Alumni. College Alumni. I have to read that link again. I think you can also find it linked off the ITA's website. So Glozman now 3-2 lead as she did in the first set, but Coleman was able to break right back then. Let's see if she can do the same here. Great coverage from Glozman there. Coleman didn't have much choice but to go down the line. She knew it. Good start to this game. 30 love now for Glozman. Try to consolidate that break lead. If you were interested in that College Tennis Alumni Network and that commercial that just aired, if you're a former college player, it's collegetennisalumni.com. Go check that out. They also have a LinkedIn group out there. just wide. If you played college tennis at any level, even a former D3 number 6 hack like yours truly, you can join. That overhead, even though the game and the forehand for Coleman may have had some weaknesses recently, that overhead has been rock solid. Not the slightest bit of a miss hit on any of those overheads today. Now 30 all here. Now 30 all on a second serve. Let's see what Coleman does. She ought to try to come in and pounce on this and come to the net, but Glozman's been so good defensively. And it's what she was thinking, but she tried to run around that forehand and pulled it wide. So it's easier said than done. And now a game point for Glozman. She gets a few words from Coach Brennan on the side. That second serve she took advantage of and said, I'm not even going to need to come in. Just going to hit the winner here. And it's a break back for Ellie Coleman. She takes it in the ad court again. And after a 30-love start, Ellie Coleman grabs 4 straight points. And we have an exact repeat of our first set now. 4 holds and then back-to-back breaks for 3 all. So Glozman comes right back after dropping 4 straight points on her serve to get broken. She grabs the first couple on Ellie Coleman's serve for a love 30 start. Misses that return long. Couple more completions here in carry. The Malaga gets a 6-love, 6-4 win over Duke's Elena Yu. And Amelia Owner 6-4, 6-1 over Reese Carter. So 5 matches in the books now. So after the quick love 30 start, Glozman sails 2 balls long. Coleman back to 30 all. Just deep off the net, so a break point coming after the double fault. You saw Glozman getting in place. Second year now, I believe, for the women that they are playing the lets, as the men have for many years. The women do now as well, so no more lets. Just wide, and yet another deciding point for Ellie Coleman on her serve. Seems like she's lived on deciding points on her serve. Glozman never gives any of it single hesitation. She just takes them all on the deuce court. It's almost as if she doesn't know she gets a choice. She just stays there. So there's a big deciding point for Coleman. 3 all down a set. First serve is deep. And another forehand sailed long from Ellie Coleman. That's been the side that's let her down here in the second set. And it's another break for Glozman. So she'll take the 4-3 break lead and now can start to smell the finish line. A couple holds or a hold in the break. Punch her ticket into the round of 16. Again, these main draw participants need to win 3 rounds to qualify for the NCAA singles tournament. 6 rounds if you want to come out of here with the title. Draw of 64. So we're in the round of 32 here. Get you a quick look at ongoing matches around the grounds. Teammate Connie Ma, after taking the first set, down a break. In the second, Coleman's teammate Emmett Jackson up 5-1 in the second there. Teammate Shavit Kimchi also just split. backhand error from Coleman. The wheels just seem to be slipping ever so slightly for her. Certainly a more high-risk, high-reward game on her side of the net. She's going to go for more winners, but make more errors. Glozman very solid and steady on the other side of the net. And Glozman now 6 points away from a date in the round of 16. Good swinging volley there from Ellie Coleman, bringing it 30-15. We haven't talked about the draw yet, so the winner of this match between Glozman and Coleman will face the winner of Sarah Hamner and Bianca Fernandez. Hamner from South Carolina, Fernandez UCLA. Just wide. The loser will go into the consolation. It's a consolation feed-in, I believe, through quarters. I'll have to double check that. That is until the quarter, so feed-in up until the quarterfinals. Ellie Coleman there to level it at 30 all. What that means for those folks in the back draw, I would assume, haven't seen the scheduling, but I assume that means 2 matches a day in the consolation with those feed-ins. Game points now for Glozman. Wasn't the best. It was the right idea, but not great execution on the return, frankly, for Coleman. She went to jump on that second and did, but hit it right back to Glozman and gave her plenty of opportunity. But Glozman unable to really do anything with it. And now a deciding point, another second serve look for Ellie Coleman. See if she does the same run around. She does indeed. It's just the right play. She's got to do that every time, that second serve. She runs around that forehand, almost into the service line when she does so. Dictates the play. So 4 breaks in a row now. So from 4 holds to 4 breaks, we find ourselves at 4 all in the second. Didn't take exactly the same path to get here in the first, but this is where we were when Glozman earned a break and then held to close the set out. Very unfortunate timing on the play site graphic there. Nothing I can do about it. Mishit ball off the backhand for Coleman there. Oh, beautiful. Again, the great defense from Glozman. She hits the drop shot. Coleman, a great play to get to that. But Glozman anticipating that down the line. She covers it and hits the running forehand into the open court for a love 30 opening here in an attempt to break from 4-all just as she did in the first set. Oh, now you can see the frustration wearing in on Coleman at the potential repeat of happenings from the first set. Now love 40. 4 break points coming the way of Valerie Glozman here, who, if she can capitalize on one, will have an opportunity to serve for the match. Oh, and those nets that roll over that have gone Ellie Coleman's way several times so far this match go the way of Valerie Glozman there. Little slice return off the top of the tape, rolls over. She earns the break and will have an opportunity to serve for the match. Quick look around at scores. The All-SEC battle. Elza Tomas and Celia Bell Moore going the way of the Volunteer 3-11 the third at the moment. You see Emma Jackson did earn the split with Ava Raster. One more match has gone final since our last report, and that's Carson Tangelig for North Carolina, 6-4, 6-3 over Sydney Ratliff. That a consolation match. Most of the matches this morning completed have been the consolation variety. Now Glozman serving for the match. 5 breaks in a row now in this second set. Good play moving forward there from Glozman. She's got to know here, key to getting a hold with the way Coleman's attacking that second is to get that first serve in. Can probably afford to take just a hair off the first to get it in. Maybe even into the backhand side of Coleman where she's a little less damaging. Oh, looked like a choice between an overhead and a high swinging volley from Coleman. She hit one overhead, rock solid like she has all match earlier in the point. And as she looked like she was prepping to set for another overhead, she switched to the swinging volley and pulled it, mishit well wide. So 30-15 now for Glozman, 2 points from a match. That volley was wide, confirmed by the chair. I think Ellie Coleman knew it, but wanted confirmation. Another rock-solid overhead. Couldn't be more impressed with her overheads, but now got 3 match points coming for Valerie Glozman here. 40-15. First one fought off. I was going to say, had that one landed, would have epitomized the way this match is gone. Coleman, the aggressor, coming in, Glozman counter-punching and passing, but unable to make the pass there. So it'll be match point number 2 for Glozman. Short ball, unable to handle it. Looked like that one that she's actually been utilizing the one-hander for most of the match on the sort of running balls, but that was not quite the depth on the run. A little shorter, and she elected to go 2 hands. Now the last match point of this game. It's a deciding point. We're either going 5-all or it's a match. And it's a miss from Ellie Coleman, and Valerie Glozman pulls off the 6-4, 6-4 win. So the freshman into the round of 32, or into the round of 16, excuse me. This was the round of 32. So a round of 16 appearance, 1 win away from that quarterfinal that earns her an automatic bid into NCAA singles. 6-4, 6-4 for Glozman over Ellie Coleman. And again, we'll have Tarvit and Miguel Perez Pena later for the men. And a quick thanks to our friend of the show, John J. Parsons, who gave a quick clarification on those consolation draws. One match only today for consolation, and then 2 days tomorrow and Saturday. 2 a day tomorrow and Saturday, so definitely a lot of matches in the back draw for those players going there. But please come back and join us. It'll be 12:30 approximate if we're on schedule at Tulsa. 12:30 start for Oliver Tarvett, Miguel Perez Pena. Until then, we'll see you back here tomorrow for the women's featured match of the day, and later today for the men.
I've always loved the game of tennis.
Everyone's a big family here.
It's about camaraderie because it's family.
I consider my tennis family part of my overall family.
That's what I like about it more. So friendships you develop.
I look so forward to coming to these events and seeing my friends that I've made through the years.
If you love the game, give back to the game.
You become the calm in the storm.
You can decide how much you want to work and how much you don't want to work.
You never stop learning.
Every time I work an event, I always learn something.
It takes time, it takes experience.
Find your niche. We need you, and I think you will find it very rewarding.
Get out there, start trying to do it, and see if you like it.